With the owner's goal of getting this car in the 9s, we've already installed the JMS LaunchMAX, which make our 60-foots a lot more consistent and a lot faster. Well, we're going to add some more power to this thing as well. To get that number, we need more fuel. So today we're going to install JMS's FuelMAX to give us more fuel. Hi, Brad here from JMS to tell us about the FuelMAX and help with the installation. Now, I'm familiar with fuel pump boosters, but this kind of sort of takes that to another level. Tell us what this is, who needs it, and how it works.
Well, this is the industry's most advanced fuel pump voltage booster, and it has a lot of other features that most type of devices or amplifiers like this don't have. One being a high range of voltage adjustment. Typical voltage boosters will put out 17, 18 volts directly to the fuel pump. We give you the option to go as high as 22 volts, so an incredible amount of boost. Another thing...
Now it's progressive though, isn't it?
It is progressive, yeah. And another really beneficial added feature is we allow you to adjust the ramp in and ramp out rate of the voltage. So it's much easier on the engine as the voltage is increasing to the pump and decreasing.
Now, would you adjust that specifically based on a power adder? Like if you had maybe a root style blower where the power comes in a lot faster versus like maybe a centrifugal or a turbo where there's a little bit of a lag?
Yes, sir. So what we do is we allow you to adjust the ramp in rate either by voltage or by boost pressure itself, depending upon how you activate the unit. So this particular unit that we're going to be using today activates directly off the accelerator pedal position sensor, so it will activate based on voltage.
So the more throttle your pedal's showing, the more voltage the pedal shows, I mean, the more boost fuel this is going to add.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as installation goes, I know a lot of this is plug and play. There's no wire cutting, no splicing. And I mean, who needs this? I mean, this car obviously has a blower, has bigger injectors on. We got a set of 1050s on there, but I'm guessing the naturally aspirated guy probably doesn't need this so much as the power adder cars do.
Correct. Naturally aspirated cars would not use this. Power adder cars would. So supercharging, turbocharging, lots of nitrous.
Okay. Now, why this versus a bigger pump? Or versus a fuel system, so to speak?
Ease of installation, ease of use.
Okay, so this will work with your stock pump. Will it work with an aftermarket pump if you had a larger aftermarket pump?
It'll work with the stock pump. It'll actually increase the voltage output or the fuel output of the stock pump by up to 85%.
Okay, so on a car like our 13 GT here, what kind of horsepower would this support with a stock pump?
This will support well over 1,000 rear wheel horsepower.
With a stock pump?
With a stock fuel pump. And if you use an aftermarket pump, most aftermarket pumps are designed to work at a higher voltage as well. So when you, if you look at MagnaFuel or Aeromotive or Deechworks or various different types of pumps like that, they operate most optimally at a 16-volt output.
Okay, which I know a lot of race cars run 16-volt batteries, so that makes absolutely perfect sense. Now, as far as, this is obviously for this car here, but I'm assuming you make these for Shelby's and factory power adder cars as well?
Yeah, so we make them plug and play for all Shelby GT500s 2011 through 2014, the Shelby GT350, the F-150.
Okay.
It's also plug and play for other types of vehicles such as Dodge Hellcats, Demons.
Okay, and newer Mustangs, 15, 18, all those are covered as well?
Newer Mustangs, 18, 15, yeah, and it doesn't matter if you have a dual pump setup or a single pump setup.
Okay, great, let's get started with the install.
Okay, so before we do the installation on this, we're actually going to program this unit. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn this dip switch on, number 1, right here. So we turn it up into the up position. So we're going to turn dip switch 1 on, which allows us to program this unit. Okay, so the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to set the voltage output for this fuel pump. Now for this particular car, he makes about 10 pounds of boost. So we're going to leave the second dip switch in the down position, which basically allows the unit to run between 14.4 volts and 18 volt maximum output. So for this particular car, we want 18 volts. So we'll leave the switch down and we're going to turn this pot switch over here all the way up to 100%, which is a maximum output of 18 volts. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn on dip switch number 3. Dip switch number 3 basically enables the ramp in, ramp out rate. So in this particular case, we're going to ramp the output of the voltage from 0 volts up to 3.2 volts. So once we have all of this done, basically you can turn the dip switches off, and when you turn dip switch 1 back into the off position, that saves the programming, so that no matter what, if any of these pot switches are turned at any point, it will have no effect on the output settings of the voltage. So it's a safety feature that's built into the unit itself. In the case of all of these dip switches, the explanation for how all of these work are detailed in the instruction manual.
All right, the installation to begin back here in the trunk. We're going to remove this, mover mat, move a spare tire. Your fuel pump plug is right here. So push down here in the center. We're going to unplug this.
As we're going to plug in the fuel pump driver module jumper right here to the main harness, get all the connections made.
Okay, and this just goes in line.
Just goes in line.
These feel like they're factory plugs. They go right on.
Yes, they are factory plugs. And the next thing you want to do is ground it to the factory FPDM ground, which is right here on the back of the trunk. So the next thing you're going to do is plug the 6-pin connector into the side panel of the unit.
Okay.
Okay. The next thing you're going to do is this wiring harness, which is basically going to run up into the interior of the car. I'm going to go through where the factory wiring goes through the back seat of the vehicle.
All right, the wiring harness fished up to our throttle, basically our throttle pedal. Plug it into this. Reach up on top. There's a little tab. Slide that off. Install the harness. Okay, go back through and we'll hide the wires and then mount the unit and your installation's finished. All right, since we're gonna draw a little bit more power, the last step is under the hood. You're gonna pop this off. This fuse here is gonna be for the fuel pump relay. Remove that and replace it. Provided larger fuse. So the FuelMAX installed, the owner of this car now, I mean, he can let this thing rip, right? I mean, you're good to almost 1,000 horsepower to the tire with just that max on the stock pump.
Yeah, he can pretty much run all the way up to 1,000 horsepower.
Okay, so yeah, you can turn this car up, get a lot closer to the goal of the 9s. As you saw, the installation was pretty straightforward. I mean, JMS provides everything down to the self-tapping screws and even a screwdriver to make the adjustments. The installation, what do you figure? 20, 30 minutes probably, really?
About 30 minutes on this.
Not much to it. We'll be back on the road in no time.